What are we doing? What are we doing today, man? Welcome to Last Call Reacts. Welcome to the channel. Do me a favor while you're here. Like, share, subscribe. Check out some of my other videos that I got in the catalog. Come and meet me on my live Friday night at 9 o'clock. Now, I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time. You know why I know why we're here. You know why we're here. We're going to talk about this fool right here, Vance Boelter. All right. Now, straight up, where's the outrage? Where is the outrage of this type of murder? This lawless behavior of a guy. They said, so let me go back. Let's say he fits the profile, everything. Let's go into a couple things. Boelter is alleged to have posed as a police officer as he gunned down Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark Hortman, in the early hours of June 14th. In a separate shooting, he wounded State Senator John Hoffman, also a Democrat, and his wife, Yvette Hoffman. So he, four freaking politicians, two deceased. He posed as a police officer, doing the whole thing as well. Now, there you see a picture of him. This is from the FBI site. Now, if you're looking over here, this is generally, I think the one here, the number 2 picture where my cursor is at, is kind of what he looked like a little bit more. But he used a disguise there. I forgot what they call it, a hyper-realistic mask. I think in both of these cases, as he would go and do his, just trying to watch my words here, thing that he wanted to accomplish. Let me put a couple things on here for you as well that get into some of the explanations.
In their homes. The attacks happened early. Vance Boelter is now charged with shooting 2 lawmakers and
sorry, just to play this, because sometimes this is CBS. Fair use. Most of the time they're pretty good with me, but sometimes I know the sound can get cut off, so I'm gonna have to check that afterwards too.
Vance Boelter is now charged with shooting 2 lawmakers and their spouses in their homes. The attacks happened early Saturday morning. A manhunt for Boelter lasted 2 days, and he was finally arrested Sunday night in Sibley County, not far from his home in Green Isle. State House Speaker Emerita Melissa Hoffman and her husband Mark were shot and killed inside their home in Brooklyn Park. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were both shot multiple times in their home in Champlin, and they are now recovering from their injuries. And this is breaking within the past few minutes. Federal prosecutors say that Boelter went to the homes of 2 more lawmakers with the intent to kill them. They released these images.
They said he had a list of at least 45 people to continue doing his task. Now, this was a very dangerous, but although very stupid individual. I have to sideline you guys because I was a little annoyed at CNN. And instead of calling him some sort of a lunatic or, they think he's so intelligent. Over here, they got one of his experts weigh in on the suspect's complex state of mind. He's so complex because I'll tell you right there, because he planned a campaign of stalking and violence. So this suggests throughout the process that he was dangerous and methodical of a criminal over here. They're giving him terms and not even, I've never seen this type of characterization to barely demonize this individual that did horrendous things. This takes me back to the Luigi character who offed the CEO and how much fanfare that got. And I don't know. I don't know if it's as simple as, people thought he was a good looking man and he was very just in what he was doing as well. But I related to this. And before I press play, you know what? Let me go back to something else that I was reading that I quickly want to get into. So, reported by ABC News, they have a part that says, when the Brooklyn Park officers got out of their cars, the suspect, Belter, allegedly drew a handgun and opened fire, according to the Minnesota U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson. But Drew Evans, superintendent of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, said it remains under investigation whether Belter fired at the officers or was shooting into the door of Hoffman's home. When officers opened fire, the suspect entered the home, fatally shooting Hortman and her husband. What the hell happened there? So they had a chance to apprehend him, and he ended up going into the houses and continuing to off that individual, those two people that we know of, the Hoffmans. Why didn't they take him out then? He had time to draw a weapon. How, I ask you, and it's tough to not want to make these comparisons, not a scratch on him, not a bruise on him. They possibly could have prevented, dare I say, they possibly could have prevented further tragedy. Now, they say Belter allegedly ran out of the back door. Police found the suspect's 9mm Beretta, body armor, and mask ditched behind Hortman's home. In Belter's vehicle, still parked in the driveway, officers discover 5 more firearms, including an assault-style rifle of large quantity of ammunition. Thompson said, and also in the car, they found a notebook containing the names and addresses of more than 45 elected officials. Where is the outrage? Seriously, where is the outrage that this guy was on the loose? They're saying this is the largest. Well, let me get back to this video over here. I knew I want to get back to this. Hang on.
Appears to show him wearing a hyper-realistic mask at the homes in New Hope and Maple Grove. So 2 new homes we learned about, 2 new stops the night of these murders. Now, one of those lawmakers was on vacation, and police scared him away from the other home. So investigators say a surveillance camera captured the shooting of Senator Hoffman and his wife. This is what it showed.
When Belter lowered his flashlight, which he had shined in their face, they realized that he was not a police officer. They shouted out, "You're not a cop. You're not a police officer." Belter then announced, "This is a robbery," and forced himself into their home.
Interesting.
When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Belter out and stop him from entering his home, Belter shot him repeatedly. Belter then shot Miss Hoffman repeatedly. Belter fled the scene, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911.
Also new, they say that Belter's hit list had roughly 45 names on it, mostly elected Democrats and abortion rights advocates. They recovered high-powered guns and loads of ammunition from his SUV. The U.S. attorney says the death penalty is on the table. We want to turn now to our Barrett Leon. She's live for us in Minneapolis, where he is also facing state charges. Barrett.
Well, Aaron, we just heard from Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty, and she tells us that her team is seeking first-degree murder charges. This, of course, is an upgrade from the nationwide warrant that Vance Boelter was facing. And these charges...
Yes, on that paper by the FBI that I showed you before, I should say posting, if I bring it down here, right, says should be considered armed and dangerous. FBI. Oh, I thought it listed here that it said second degree, but I did also see that as well, that he was only given second degree, but good to know that it was brought up. But That's not all. This is a very different character, and I want to bring up a couple things before we bring it to an end.
Come with mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. So Belter may be captured, but the investigation is far from over. Moriarty tells us that the county's most senior prosecutors are handling this case. And unlike federal prosecutors, the county is keeping tight-lipped on their process. Moriarty says that's to keep the integrity of this case. And right now, law enforcement is helping them build it with facts and evidence.
It is a frightening time we are living in. Political violence is prevalent, and the way we talk to and about each other has raised the temperature to unfathomable levels.
Little message there. He is or is known to be a staunch Trump supporter. And before wrapping this up, I want to just run through an article.
We cannot continue on this way. As our community grieves, I encourage those out there seeking to create additional chaos to stop spreading misinformation and conspiracy theories.
So again, this investigation is far from over. Moriarty credits the hundreds of state, local, and federal law enforcement officers who worked tirelessly to capture Vance Boelter over.
So, okay, I need to cut her off, but a couple things I want to add to this also. Let me go back to one of these articles. We don't know what was going on in his life. All right. Couple things with him. He moved around a lot. I believe they said that he tried to reinvent himself during the course. I have a lot of tabs opened up here in the background that I thought I was using it in a good order, but I guess I wasn't. But even his living conditions. So as I'm reading this thing that he, some messages that he sent to people, to his wife, they have 5 kids, but for some reason, they didn't even really attribute it to a marriage issue, but he was having money issues, and he took up a residence with 2 other guys, 2 friends, and I'm not insinuating anything about that, and paying rent, but living away from his family. Now, his roommates, which are said to be older friends of his, said they had no idea. You could see their footage online. You could bring it up on YouTube or anything like that. Said they had no idea, about his extremist views or anything. But you're telling me they didn't see anything? He was one of these guys that took trips out to the Congo. Sorry, no plural there. Preach over there. Preach against abortion. Very weird ideologies that this guy had. And when they found him pistol loaded in action of injuring others. Now, I'm not saying it had to be an all shootout. I mean, those were the reports that we got, that when they found this person, that there was some sort of a shootout before he was apprehended, before he gave up, but they surrounded him, finally took him down. One of the neighbors, a witness, said that she alerted the police or one of the SWAT members to where he was exactly. Otherwise, it was said he would never have been seen. He stuck his head up, and that's how he was noticed by the neighbor. This is, I can't think of this being anywhere else or anybody else and it not being a big deal. And I ask again, where's the outrage? Where are the people that this is ridiculous? We need reform. This has all the elements. This is a staunch Republican, conservative, gun-toting nut, Trump supporter, 5 kids, buried in the church. You should see one of the, let's see if I can pull this up over here. One of the titles of the one of the news articles fits the profile. Suspects' Christian ties spur fears of more assassinations. One of his neighbors described him as a devout Christian. How many people have you heard being described as a devout Christian? Should this now bring concern for the type of profile that may be associated to this type of individual? I'm asking, in terms of that kid Luigi, that off the CEO, you saw this everywhere. Not that this is exactly being brushed under the rug, but where's all the attention and the outrage and the around the clock analytics around this? I don't hear it. I don't see it. Where's the warning of this profile of this individual? Vance Boelter and other profiles like this are very dangerous people. We'll be following this with any updates and see how it's handled and try to figure out why it's handled so gingerly. Who are they doing that for? Why are they so careful with the dissemination of not the case, but the image of this person and this individual and his surroundings, condemning his friends, his associations? I'm just very curious about this case. Drop any comments for me. As a matter of fact, if you can, comment, like, subscribe, help me grow. Let me know, am I right? Am I wrong? You got something else to add for me? I'd appreciate it. Thanks for checking in, man. This is Last Call Reacts in the house. Peace.